Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we have a short video on a simple web app I made called Post-it. I'd like to show you how this works and then I'll show you some of the source code and that will be it. So this is my web app called Post-it. It's kind of like like a note-taking app, but also it has a wall, so it's kind of like a social media app too, and it's very simple. We just enter some text, let's say do the dishes, and we add a note to our wall. And so this kind of looks like yellow post-it notes. That's the idea. So it's very simple. I could have done a lot more with this, but the way I've been approaching these coding challenges is to give myself like a day or two, or sometimes the weekend, and just see how much I can get done during that amount of time, and then that's all I have. So basically the clock stops and then I'm done. So I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out for being pretty new to front-end stuff and also only having bits and pieces of a weekend to put this together. So let me add a few more cards or notes. So that's basically all there is to it. And we have the option to delete these. They don't have to be deleted in any sort of order. So what we have here is essentially just a card with a timestamp for when the note was posted, the text of the note, and then also an option to delete. And there we go, our wall is cleared. So that's my app. It's called Post-it. Very simple, vanilla JavaScript, Bulma CSS for styling. That's really all there is to it. So now that we've seen the app working, let's take a look at the code. So the HTML is pretty simple, and I don't think it's that interesting. So I'll just show this quickly, but then we'll spend the most of our time on the JavaScript. So we basically just have Bulma section div. This is to get the columns to be 2/3 centered in the middle of the page, like we see here. That's what all this is about. Then we have our tags h1, h2. Welcome to Post-it, a place where you can post about anything. And then here we have our form, which is a div.form or a class of form. All this stuff here, input is normal, has background white. This is all Bulma stuff, Bulma CSS. So I highly recommend that you check out Bulma. To me, Bootstrap CSS was kind of overwhelming and a bit confusing, and I think Bulma was just easier for me to get hold of, so I've been using Bulma. And then let's see, we also have our button, the Post-it button, and then our post wall, which is just a div, and for now it's empty, so initially there is nothing here. It's only when we create elements and append them to post wall that we start to see the nodes. So that's the HTML, that's the bones. My style sheet has one thing in it. That's for the body, to set the background color to a sort of gray. Everything else is Bulma for CSS. And now let's take a look at the actual code. So this is the code. It's pretty short, not even 100 lines of JavaScript. And at the top we have our variables, our global variables. So we're bringing in a post wall, post form, post button, and post input. And then these are all using classes, so document.querySelector based on class. Then we have a couple of functions. We have create post card and update post wall, and I will come back to those. And then really the main part of the code, the body of the code, is down here. So we just have a post button with an event listener for click. And when this is clicked, we grab the post text, which is the value from the post input, which is just anything that's entered here. So this becomes post text, and we grab that. And then basically we have an if-else block. So if post text, meaning if there is something there, then we call the other two functions, create post card and update post wall. If not, we give an alert that says, hey, you need to put something in here. And so we didn't see this before, but if you try to enter a null value, we get this alert. You need to enter something. Okay. And that won't let you post anything. And then finally, at the end of this, we just clear the post input value so that the form is reset every time. So the majority of the logic is in, well, all the remaining logic is in these two functions right here, post card and update post wall. So let's take a look at those. So create post card, we take the post text, that variable, let post text, and we grab that, and then we use it down here to basically append that text inside the card. And what we've got going on here is basically we're creating a bunch of divs, and the way Bulma works with cards is you have a card, then a child card content, and then a child content. So I'm creating all of these divs and then assigning the classes, and that's where you see card my-2, that's setting margin, has background, warning light. So I'm assigning all the styling here instead of in the HTML, because obviously we don't have the cards yet, so we only create them when a user attempts to post a note. And so that's all this is: create element, a bunch of divs, different classes, and then we also grab the timestamp, or we create a timestamp using the date object. So we just get the current time, and then we also append that as well inside of a p tag right here. And then down at the end, we basically just say, hey, card content, grab the timestamp. We grab the text of the post, or the text of what the user enters, and we append that all inside a card. We give that card a footer, which has a link, which is a delete link. It actually behaves more like a button, but it's a link. It's an A tag. And then finally, we append all of that to post wall, which, if you remember from the top, is just we grab something with the div with the class of post wall, and here in the HTML, this is empty at the beginning. And so that's how we're creating our post cards, and we pass in post text as an argument. And then finally, we have update post wall, which we call right after create post card. This checks, it gets all of the posts that are on the wall. So we use query selector all for anything with a class of card, div.card, and then we use a for loop for all of the posts. So let post of all posts, and we console log the post, but then we check to see if there is an action, a click action on any of the delete buttons within any of the cards. And if there is, then we just delete that card. So that's really all there is to it, everybody. Again, to see this in action, let's see these side by side. So enter something. There we go. Make a joke. And wrap up. So that is it every time. So create post card and update post wall. And here, as I said, we don't have to delete these in any sort of order, so we can delete them out of order. And then our wall is cleared. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. We're just about 7 minutes, so this is a good place to stop. As I said in my earlier videos, my goal for the channel is to share things that I find interesting or things that I've struggled with, but also to showcase some of these short projects that I'm working on. And so that's what this is. I just wanted to show you a very simple web app called Post-it, and I'm very pleased with the progress. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video.